Welcome back, coaches of the ASL. Today we are doing draft rankings for season 17 of the ASL. Shadow's with me. Uh, you wanna talk about your own team for a minute, Shadow?
Sure. I mean, there's a few things I like about this team, and obviously I got sniped a good bit, but Roaring Moon is a really good mon.
Yeah.
Um, Plus, like, I think I got some value with Bravery. I think I got some value with Dondozo.
Mm-hmm.
Primate is like I have a lot of things going on this Primate, so obviously I don't want to reveal everything, but obviously it gets Rage Fist. Being free Terra, it's probably gonna be Terra Ghost a few times just to get the boost in Rage Fist.
Yeah.
But it can take hits. It's by no means a slow mon, a weak mon, I guess is what I was trying to say. But it is a slow mon, but it can also run a few different items to help with that.
Yeah.
My biggest issue, I guess my biggest issue with this team is just a it doesn't really have a lot of hazards going. Um, sure, I've got Stealth Rock on like three mons in tiers D and E, which realistically aren't going to come a lot.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my primary concern with this.
Yeah. Just me taking a look at it. For one, I see you don't have a grounded poison, so T spikes could be an
Mm-hmm.
issue for you.
Yep.
You have some decent removal here. You got defog on quite a bit of mons, being Scizor, Rotom, Florges, Cryogonal, and Braviary. So removal isn't really
Yep.
a problem for you. You got some okay speed tiers as well. Nothing like your cap is 119 with Roaring Moon, but that's still kind of fast. There's not really many gaps in there either through the whole team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Something that I really like that you have Primeape as your free Terra user. Primeape with Eviolite is insane.
Right.
That thing is really nice. And then just the
Mm-hmm.
last thing is you are pretty weak to the rock type, and Primeape is really your only resist to offensive rock types.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That was kind of intentional. Well, I can't say it was intentional because this plan was being made up on the fly. But part of it was intentional because it means if someone's running a rock move, which they will most weeks,
yeah.
and I bring Primip in, it's gonna not take a lot, but it's also gonna get the Rage Fist boost.
Hmm.
And I guess I kind of want people to hit me with a rock type move so I can boost the Rage Fist in a way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not great. Like if someone runs rock and psychic or rock and flying to just prevent me from going into Primip, that's already a concern.
Hmm. And then I also really like Braviary is so strong. Like Hisui and
It is.
Braviary, you've showed
I'm
me
really
so many
hoping I can use
things.
it well. Yeah, like it hits like a truck and it can sweep. It's just I hope I get the chance to show that off in the games.
Yeah, and just looking at it, you have quite a like Bullcephalon is another sweeper that you can have there. Florges is a
Hmm.
really good special wall. Um,
Right. Yeah.
Dondozo with Unaware is very good at stopping setup sweepers, so that's pretty nice. But overall,
Right.
it's an average team. It's okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's where it is. And the reason I guess I could put it on a B minus is one thing that I don't see pointed out was I'm super weak to ghost types. My only resist to that is Roaring Moon, which realistically I don't want taking too many hits.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess just between that and then the way I see my games going, I don't have a lot of hazards. As I said, I have some cell talks, but realistically, I'm not gonna be setting hazards most games,
Yeah.
and which you can see that with like defog. I'm gonna be clicking defog every time because I don't have to worry about having hazards on the opposing side because realistically I won't.
Yeah. In most cases, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess it's not the best strategy, but I feel like it kind of works for me.
Yeah,
Um,
it definitely can.
it's
Just
it's a middle of the road team,
yeah,
is where I see
and
it.
we'll move on here. We'll go to my team here.
Yep.
Um, I gave myself a B plus. I didn't think there was anything too stand outish about my team. Spectre is really strong. Its move pool is very limited though. I got very good speed tiers. I think my speed tiers are some of the best here. Capping at 150 with Mega Aerodactyl. Thank you for putting me onto that.
Yep.
I have okay removal. It's not the best. Being
Hmm.
defog on Whimsicott, Rotom, and you're not really running defog on Aerodactyl. And then of course Starmie can also run Rapid Spin, and with Natural Cure you don't really have to worry about T spikes that much with Starmie. Um, I don't really have much momentum either. Looking at it,
Yeah. That
um,
was my one point on this.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't really have much momentum. I think that's gonna bite me in the butt going down the line. And I also don't have a dragon type, which might be
yep.
very bad.
So if you, my notes literally say dragon and pivot because those are the two big points I had with this team. It is a very nice team, and as I said, I think the offensive core of Mega Aerodactyl, Spectre, and King Gambit, that's going to be a pain to switch into for
Yeah,
anyone. But it's weird how so much of your team, well, not so much of your team, but like it's weird how Spied Up does so much on your team despite being such a bad mon.
I know, right?
Where it's your only web shatter, it's one of your only two T spikers. It's one of the only two things on the team that gets U-turn. It adds the lower speed tiers. Like it's doing a lot on that team, and I imagine that's a mon that's gonna come to maybe 1, 2 games at most, hopefully, because I mean that's a bad mon. I don't
Yeah,
imagine you
it's
want to bring
so
it to
bad.
more.
I don't know
So
why I drafted Spide Ops. I was like, you know what?
yeah,
Let's go
it's
ahead and get it.
like I don't know what it really brings to this team apart from picking a bunch of boxes on the actual draft plan. But
Mainly
yeah, I
just
guess that's
webs,
my other
but
thing.
there's so many other better things that get webs and E that I could
Hmm.
have drafted. I just kind of panicked. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I think it's still fine. As I said, it's not the end of the world. And I guess my other point was just Kecleon. I'm not a super big fan of as a normal type. And I say that as having no normal type on my team, but like
yeah,
usually you want something that can normal spam at times and then has the coverage. Kecleon, I don't know if that's really at Mon.
yeah. Kecleon was also nerfed with Protean being nerfed, so that's
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Oh, I guess the other thing I wanted to say on this team I forgot, but you don't have any wish passes, which I mean, given it Starmie, Gastrodon, I think Roserade as well, they all get recovery, so that's not the biggest issue. But really, if Dianthy takes a hit, you have no way of getting it back to full, or if King Gambit takes a hit, you really don't have a lot of going for getting it back up.
yeah,
I guess a wish passer on this team might have been nice, but it's not the end of the world, I don't think.
yeah. Hopefully, I can make it work there.
Yep.
And then moving on here to Flash. Looking at his team, he has. Oh wait, let me pull him up over here. He has okay speed tiers. Looking at it, he has
Hmm.
two Mons that are base 100, and then above that just one 110, and then a 135. So on the upper end,
Right.
it's good, and then going down, there's three in the 70s, and I feel like the speed tiers aren't the greatest here. He has okay removal. Like actually, it's not really that good of removal now that I think about it. It's
Yeah, I was
Salamence
gonna
and
say
Driftblim. Uh,
I think unfortunately he probably has maybe the worst second worst removal on the entire roster this time.
yeah,
Um, Driftblim, like it can run defog. It's not gonna run defog every week, and Salamence I can't imagine it's gonna run defog more than a couple of times the whole season.
yeah,
So, and he has no spinner, so it's really gonna be a case of who's hazard stacking here.
yeah. He also doesn't have a poison type, so
Well,
again,
more importantly, he doesn't have a fairy type,
yeah, the
and
fairy type is really bad too.
yes, I was gonna say I think he's a little prone to dragon spam, particularly because dragon types get coverage. So like yes, Bishop is there, but Bishop is not going to take like a fighting type hit or a ground type hit, which I mean, so many things get earthquake. Um, so yeah, I guess that's my biggest issue with this. He's really weak to dragon spam, and the other thing, and this is probably a personal issue more than anything, but like I feel like Chi is a weird high tier pick because it's really good. Don't get me wrong, but like it does the same thing every week. It's gonna come, click, Dark Pulse, Flamethrower, maybe Fire Blast, and I feel like you need a little bit more versatility out of your top tier mon.
Hmm.
Again, that's probably just a me thing.
Yeah,
And then
he
again, yeah, also Cleric is Salamence, which is not running Wish ever, so
yeah he also has defensive flying Appleton, which is an interesting choice. Um, Appleton is a
right.
really good defensive mon, and it going into flying, it having thick fat, that will lower the weakness of ice even more. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because looking at it, he has two mons that are four times weak to ice, and then Driftblim is also weak, but he also has one, two, three, four resists in ice. So
Right.
I think Appleton could be okay. Also going into flying will get rid of its dragon weakness as well.
Right. I think it's cool. I would have liked to see maybe a fairy Appleton.
Hmm.
I feel like that would really solve a lot of problems on this team. But yeah, I'm hoping Flash can prove us strong because I don't think this is the best team. I think it's amongst the worst actually, but I don't know Flash as a coach. Maybe he's really used to this type of team and can just win games.
Yeah, there's a. I mean, I kind of really like his low tier picks though. Drifblim is very
Yeah,
interesting. I've seen a lot of people use that really well. I don't remember who it was, but there was a Flayer boost sweep that was in awards. I think at some point. Um,
right. Yeah.
Luxray is an interesting Pokemon. It has a lot that it can do, and Torterra has always been decent when it's been used by people like TCP. I think Peaches has also used
Right.
Torterra pretty well in the past too.
Yes, I think so.
Um, yeah, Torterra is really good, even though it's 4 times weak to ice.
Yeah, I think what I want to say is he has like a double intimidate core with Salamence and Luxray,
Yeah.
and that's definitely really nice. I feel like I don't know how he's planning to use it, if he's planning to use it, but it definitely can put in work defensively.
All right. I think that's everything I have to add to there. So we'll go ahead and move on to TCP here,
Got it.
which you graded A minus. I graded A B. Um,
Right?
Let me
Yeah.
move
Do,
my
do
notes
you want me to
over.
go?
Yeah, you start first with
Yeah.
TCP.
Yeah, because I think this is one of the best teams there is. Um, he got, and if you look at his team and you break it down, he's got three different mons that can run Wish between Sylveon and Latias and then Ardino, which may not come a lot. But he's got those mons can run Heal Bell. Mons can run Baton Pass. Um, he's got U-turn. He's got Volt Switch. He's got a good set of hazards. Sure, all those hazards kind of come from Quagsire, but I feel like Quagsire is a really good value pick in D, so it might still come to a good bit. And then his removal is weird in that he has Latias and Tentacruel and also Articuno, but normally I'd say just having one mon in each category is not the best, but feel like Tentacruel is gonna run Rapid Spin most weeks, and if not, Latias will run Defog as well quite often because it's gonna be a defensive one, I'm gonna assume.
Yeah.
I think just because of that, I feel like he ticks every box he can tick. The only reason it's an A minus for me is what's the special attack over here? Like I don't see anything that's really threatening on the special side. Like Mega Absol is 115 base special attack, but it's also 150 attack. So why would you ever run special? I guess.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's just a bunch of 110 mons, but nothing that's really scary as such.
Yeah. Me looking at it, his speed tiers are okay. I didn't
Mhm.
really like his removal options. Like Tentacruel is his best one.
Right.
But that kind of forces it to be the remover every week, even though it was going to anyway. Um,
Hmm.
Libero is also nerfed on Cinderace, but most cases, like half the time when you go into Cinderace, you're either clicking Pyro Ball or you're clicking U-turn.
Yep.
So
Not the biggest
Libero is
concern.
still okay on Cinderace. It's not really that big of an issue. I really like his Terra choice on Iron Thorns. Um, Bug gets rid of its ground weakness, and also it does get access to pin missiles, so loaded dice.
Oh wow.
Iron Thorns can
Okay.
be really nice. Just putting that out there.
I didn't realize that it does, but ooh, that's even scarier now. Sure, it had Terra Blast, which I was thinking what he's gonna run as bug, but Pin Missile loaded dice could be cool.
Yeah, pin missile loaded dice is really cool. I didn't. I mean, looking at it, I didn't realize that so many things got wish. I was mainly just
Hmm.
looking at Autono. So I
Right.
would move it up to a B plus on my end.
Uh,
Um, but I do see where this team gets a lot of value. Like Quagsire
right.
is such a good D tier pick. It has such
Absolutely.
value. It's the only bulky water with unaware in D tier. I'm fairly sure.
Yep.
Yeah, and Tauros Paldea, even though it's not the Blazer water variant, it's still really strong.
That's the one I'm actually kind of curious to see how TCP uses because I think it was his first tier E pick, and I wasn't even sure that thing's gonna get drafted. So I want to see how he does because TCP obviously is probably one of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had a plan when he picked that Taurus, and I want to see what he's gonna do with it. He's pretty good with his low tier mons in general. So.
Oh yeah, he is.
Mhm.
All right,
I guess
and
just sorry, I was just gonna say I think one more point to add to that is just this team's gonna be such a pain to kill. Uh, Latias and Tangrowth already very good. Aegis Slash pretty good, but Tangrowth gets a regenerator. Quagsire gets unaware. Mega Absol gets magic bounce, so you can't like toxic stuff.
mm-hmm.
And then throw in the three wish monster I said. It's basically all just lining up so that his walls are gonna basically cripple your offense and defense to some extent, and then he just brings in iron taunt and sweeps. That's how I see this team going every week.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
moving on to Tex next. Tex next. Haha.
Nice.
um, so looking at this team, he drafted Urshifu single. At
Mm-hmm.
first he didn't realize that Wicked Blow was banned, but Urshifu single strike is still really good even without Wicked Blow. Um, his team is fairly ground weak. His only immunity is Squawk
Yep.
ability, but Squawk ability is pretty versatile because it does have access to 3 really good abilities, being Guts, Hustle, and Sheer Force. Um, he also has Cyclizar with Shed Tail, so that's an interesting choice. It also has Rapid Spin, so his removal is okay with Rapid Spin on Cyclizar, and he also has Defog on Tapu Fini, which is one of the best defensive mons in the format. Um, what else? He has two. Also, another thing to mention is he has 2 speed boost Pokemon in Espathra and Scolipede.
Yep. His speed and his speed in general is pretty good.
Yeah, I really,
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what he can do with Espathra because Espathra as a Terra user is so frightening.
I think it's probably one of the better Terra users in Tier C. It might be even be the best one. Um. So yeah, I want to see what he does with the Terra users, and I think the reason I put this down to a B as opposed to a B plus is just I don't know about the lower tier picks. Yes, Squawkabilly is nice, but Squawkabilly you're only flying, you're only levitating Mon, uh, and like also you're only normal type. I don't know how many times Squawkabilly is gonna come. I think that's a very bad Mon to have as your tier E. I feel like there were better options. Similarly, Meganium, I don't know what it does, but it doesn't seem like a very good value pick even in tier E to me. So again, I know Tex can play well, and I think there's a lot of potential in this team. It's just those tier E picks in particular don't really make me like I feel like I'm prepping for 9 Mons as opposed to prepping for 12 when I see this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's understandable.
But yeah, those are 9 scary Mons to prep for to add in.
Oh yeah. Reggie is interesting. His only rockers are Reggie and Rhydon.
Yeah, I think just the scariest part about this team is he's got 2 speed boost users, both of which are gonna go behind a shed tail from Cyclizer and
Oh yeah.
just sweep.
Yeah, that's gonna
But
be
that's the
very
scary part about
scary.
this. Yeah. All right. Well, next is camera option.
Yep. Next is Cam.
Um, yeah. So on this team, it's a nice team, but when I see this team, there's one thing that really stands out and scares me. He is very weak to freeze dry. Like he got triple water, which isn't the worst thing on this team, honestly. But his ice immunities are Togedemaru and Taurus Paldea,
Mm-hmm.
the Blaze version.
Yep.
Togedemaru, I don't know if it's going to come every week. I really doubt it. I hope not. And then Taurus again. It's not the bulkiest mon. I don't think it gets recovery. There's also Metagross, which I forgot. But when you look past that, he's really weak to ice, apart from those 3. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the main
that could really
reason
matter.
why. That's the main reason I put it down to B minus as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Palafin is so strong in rain, that ice
Right.
weakness is probably going to come to bite him a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think uh, again that's the reason I put it at a B plus though is I think he's got 3 water types, but he's done a really good job of making sure they're not really sharing weaknesses. Like yes, Pelipper is weak to electric, quad weak to electric, but Kingdra takes neutral from that. And there's a few more like Zapdos and Nidoqueen, they can come in on electric moves. I think Togedemaru gets lightning rod.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, despite having 3 water types, he's not particularly weak to grass or electric. I think, in fact, he's not really weak to grass at all because nothing else in that team is weak to grass. Um, yes, I think I really like how he's managed the triple water. I think he built a good rain team. Just like you said, yeah, there is a question mark about the ice types.
Yeah, I really like Zapdos in the rain because like
Hmm.
basically
Yep.
Zapdos comes in and you really want to run discharge on Zapdos because getting those paras is so crucial. Yeah, another thing is Terra still Metagross. Generally a more offensive Terra pick.
Hmm.
Does he has a very good attack stat at 135. He
Yep.
has access to Bullet Punch, Meteor Mash hits like a truck. Um, I think Steel Metagross is going to be really scary going through here because it also gets rid
Yeah.
of his psychic type weaknesses whenever he goes into straight
Yep.
steel.
That's a fair point. I think, yeah, I agree. I think that's a good mon to have as Terra Captain. I feel like I don't know if I would have picked Night of Queen over that instead, just because I think the coverage it has makes it really cool. But you're right, Metagross hits like a truck with steel.
Yeah. All right,
Right.
so we move on to Hutch here. You put as an A minus, I put as a B plus.
Yeah,
Looking here, I really like Earthworm on this team. It has a ground immunity with Earth Eater, plus it gets Shed Tail. I think there's only two mons that get Shed Tail, Cyclizar and Earthworm. His speed tiers are okay, and Como is very scary when it starts to set up.
right,
The one of the big things that I see here is his only removal is Honchkrow and Komala.
right.
Um, that's really one of the biggest things I see is not very much removal at all, and Fluttermane is also very very scary.
Yeah, I think the reason I gave it a man is maybe I'm a little biased, but I think Fluttermane is perhaps one of the best mons in format right now. At least according to my playstyle, where I like fast mons that hit hard.
Yep.
Uh, that does exactly that. Uh, but yeah, so I think the other thing with this team is Clodsire and Como, and I think Como doesn't get enough credit for being fat, but those two mons, between them, the two of them, are really difficult to break, with the exception being that they're weak to Psychic.
Hmm.
And also when you throw in the Clodsire is weak to ground. I feel like every time he's in on a Clodsire, he's going to be forced to go into Honchkrow just to take the Psychic and ground. Uh, Similarly, when he's in on Como, you're going to expect him to go to Honchkrow very often. And I don't know if Honchkrow is the mon that wants to be doing all the coming in on big moves because it's not the best bulky mon, I would say. And that's
Yeah.
my only other concern with this team, apart from obviously the removal that we pointed out. I still think this is a really good team. Like Iron Mod, Flutter Main, Como when set up. Nothing comes into those mon individually. So when you put them all together, it's just and behind Shed Tail, but it's just a pain.
Yeah, it's very big pain. I'm really
And
interested to see how he uses Belly Bolt as well. Just
right,
recently, I
yeah,
saw it do amazing work in another league with using soak and stuff.
right.
I'm really excited to see how Hutch can utilize Belly Bolt.
Right. I think that's one of the models I overlooked, and everyone I've spoken to after draft said that it's really bulky. And I mean, looking at it, it doesn't seem like it would die. The fact that he's given it, I think that's a Terra Captain as well. Am I right?
Yes, it
It
is.
is.
It's free Terra.
Yeah. So the fact that it can be free Terra, be the pick whatever type is best defensively in each matchup. It's gonna be a pain to kill. I don't know how you kill that thing. I don't think you can one shot that thing.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. Another thing that we
Mhm.
need to point out as well is Mega Glalie down there in Tier E. That's a
Yeah, very
really
good
good
pick.
Tier E
That's a very good pick as well.
because it gets
It
does it gets access to Trailblaze now, doesn't it? Yeah, it
it
does.
does. Yes, it does. So I think this could be a really fun team to use for Hutch, and I'm not looking forward to playing it.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, so on to what I think is an even better team than Hutch, which is saying something.
Yeah, all around we gave it all A grades.
We gave it.
This team
Yeah,
is
and I
so
guess we probably
strong.
should put in some a word about Brad's grades. Brad isn't here to grade deal. We just picked what we thought was the best grade for him as well. Uh, but yeah, we I think this is probably the best team in the league.
Hmm.
I'm trying to find what the flaws with this is, if any. But yeah, no, I think Screamtail, that is such a fat mon, and it's gonna run screens most weeks. How do you kill a Gliscor or a Gudra Hisui when they have a reflect and light screen in front of it? I don't know if that's possible.
No, that's so difficult.
Yeah, like this is a very defensively solid team, and yes, he had a iron bundle. I know that, but like I just feel like this is gonna be a team that's gonna be difficult to kill, and Lily will win by attrition just by having a fat model there. And yeah, obviously stuff goes wrong. You bring in an iron bundle, you click hydro pump and do what iron bundle does. But I think even without the iron bundle, this is a very good team.
Yeah, I do as well. Like there's so many things here. Like Screamtail is like I've always thought of Screamtail as like a budget Cresselia or there was another mon that had also fits
Clefable.
into Clefable, another budget
Yep.
Clefable. Um, Another thing here is that he has Palmot as his Terra captain, even though Revival
Right.
Blessing is banned. Palmot is
Mhm.
still a pretty good mon. Has Volt Absorb and Iron Fist here and Natural Cure, all three decent abilities that could come at any time.
Right. It gets Mark Punch as well, right?
I'm fairly certain. Let me check.
Yeah. So I mean, that thing with Mark Punch, Iron Fist, if it goes fighting type, that could actually hit pretty hard. Like 115 base attack is no joke. So if it gets a 2 times boost because of the fighting stab with Terra fighting, Iron Fist on a move that's going to be basically with Iron Fist essentially.
He's Terra Electric, right?
Oh, is he?
I think
Well,
so.
okay. Everything I said just go out the window. But uh, despite that, I think it's still a very good Terra captain. Just pretend I said everything I said about like Double Fist because I think that still gets boosted by Iron or Double Shock. I think it still gets boosted by Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess with Lily's team, the one other thing I wanted to add is really what sweeps on this team. Because yeah, Iron Bundle hits hard, Palmot does kind of hit hard. I don't know if it gets bulk up. I think it does actually. But I just feel like there's no real sweeper on this team, and that probably isn't the best thing.
Yeah, it's the only thing I can see is Colossal, but most of the time, like you said, Shadow, just going Terra Water and then Steam Engine, you're not really boosting your attack and special attack.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's the only one of the only faults I can see in this is the fact that there's not really a set sweeper on here.
Hmm.
Gliscor can also do potential rock polish things, but most of the time you're
Right.
running that defensive.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the only reason I held back from giving it an A plus. I don't think that's the biggest thing on this team because, as I said, he's just gonna win attrition every time. But um, yeah, I guess that's if he had like a Dragon Dancer on his team, it would be an instant A plus.
Mm-hmm. Gudra doesn't get it right.
No.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to Dravos here. I gave it a C plus.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk about why you gave it a C plus and why I think it's a better team than C plus.
Um, where am I? I just
Uh,
I mainly gave it a C plus because I don't like a lot of the mons on here. I can
fair.
I can see the value in Clefable. Clefable's such a good mon. I've personally never had that much success with it, but it does so much. Sneasler is a very good hidden gem. Um, some people don't really see how strong that thing is.
Right.
Low kicks with Terra Bug first impression is going to be really nice. Mega
Okay.
Septile is also really good, base 145 speed. It's pretty frail, but also gets Lightning Rod, so that's an electric immunity there.
Okay.
Knackle Stack is an interesting thing too. I mean, I would assume he's going to give it Eviolite, and it's just going to basically
Violent.
be a
Yeah.
budget Garganackle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like everything you said. Yes, I agree with all of that. In that Sneasler, I think is a really good mon. I haven't had too much success using it, but Diaclaw, which is its signature move, it has a 50% chance to status. Like that by itself is pretty good. What I would have liked to see is instead of Cerulege, and this is me being upset that he stole the Cerulege I had on my draft plan. I would have liked to see him go for a special ghost type because then he can really abuse Hex and Diaclaw together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing I feel like there's like lost potential there. Maybe he might do it with FA later. But apart from that, I think he got a very solid defensive core. And like Clefable Corviknight, I don't think there's a single move that can hit both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And between Clefable having Unaware if needed or Magic Card, and Corviknight just doing stuff with pressure and, well, its abilities aren't the best, but like it's hard to break a Corviknight. It's hard to break a Clefable. Clefable, I think with the calm mindset, it can be very bulky, especially on the special side. I think those two in themselves are pretty good, and then Swampert does pretty good with Assault Vest and stuff as well. So I think just because of the defensive, like I feel like this is going to be a very difficult team to break down defensively, and I think I've said that about a few teams now. But I think just for that reason alone, I was like, I can't give this lower than a B. And then I guess the other thing I want to say about this is, yeah, Knuckle Stack is an interesting one. I know you mentioned that it's going to be Eviolite and run like a budget card Knuckle,
Hmm.
but when you look at his typings, he is very weak to rock. Like, I think the only things that come in on rock is Swampert,
Yep.
and Sneasel, I mean, is not going to want to take hits. It's super fail.
Yep.
So when you factor in that Swampert coming in on rock, it's not the best because you can also run other moves to hit Swampert. Um, Similarly, I think he's weak to ice, he's weak to flying, he's weak to water, and a lot of those things, they're all just like out of the four times I said, Swampert is the only thing that resists three of them, I believe. So if Swampert's doing all the if Swampert's taking all the hits, I don't think it gets reliable recovery.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. So you're then relying on Clefable to wish it back up, or I think Espion gets wish as well. But yeah, I just feel like that's the reason I didn't give it much higher than a B, but I still think it's a very difficult team to break down defensively.
Yeah, Illumise also gets Wish, which is something that I want to highlight here. Is Illumise is a very good supportive mon. I
Hmm.
remember, I think it was Dravos I was talking to. Dravos is, I think he said that Illumise is one of his favorite low tier mons.
Interesting. Okay.
At least I think it was Dravos that I was talking to about that. But Illumise, I've tried it out before. It can do a lot of things. There's just like it's just so supportive. Wish, so that Espeon doesn't really have to run it if you're not bringing Clefable. Um,
Right.
T Wave. I think it.
But okay, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I didn't. I'm not a big fan of Illumise, and like not a big fan of Rotom fan. The dance pass is not my favorite one, and I think there's a lot of those running in this team, but I'm sure Dravos can find a way to use them together. And like he's a very good coach. I think he will make a run for playoffs, probably go further into the playoffs even.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I just want to see what the right way to use something like a knuckles tackle, and I think he might be able to show that.
Yep. All right, and then moving on next to Static here. I gave Static
Hmm.
an A, and you gave him a B plus. Um,
Right. I think I'm trying to put together why I give the B plus, but I'm not one to usually look at speed tiers a whole lot. But I feel like static speed tiers are like there are some real gaps between them. Like Mega Minetric at 135 and Amorous I think is 106. There's a gap there, and Toadstool at 100, Samurott Hisui at 85. Then again, Heatran to Farigiraf 77 to 60. There are gaps over there, and I think that comes from him having such a high cap and having so many fast mons
mm-hmm.
that there are inevitably going to be gaps over there.
Yep.
But I guess that's kind of what I want to see a little bit more of. Mm.
I something
Mm.
that I gave this a little bit of a boost because I really like Toad Scroll.
Right.
I think a lot of people forget about Mycelium Mite, Toad Scroll.
Hmm.
People like they're like, oh, Toad Scroll spores. Let me send in like something with Magic Bounce or something with Sap Sipper to stop it, but Spore will go through all of those.
Right.
I think the other day I had somebody bring in an overcoat of Scavalier and I spored it, and they always forget
Right.
about Myceliumite because it's such a bad ability, but it's so niche that they forget about it. So that
Hmm.
could catch some people off guard. Um,
For
I
sure. And
like
yeah,
like
go
we
ahead.
mentioned before, his speed tiers are on the higher end, but they're so fast that a lot of things can't reach them most of the time unless it's like
Right.
a high speed scarfed mon. Um, Looking at Dragapult's one of the better mons on his team. Very very strong on the special and the physical side. I can run either. Heatran's a really good defensive mon. I like that. And Samurott Hisui is going to be really nice, being able to set up spikes with Ceaseless Edge.
Yep. Yeah. I guess my other thing with this team is when you look at his defensive walls, I'm trying to look for them. There's a Heatran, there's a Regice. Wheeling Galar and Toad School to some extent, yeah, you could say so. Blastoise, I guess, can be defensive at times, but there's no one particular mon that's going to be very difficult to break down. Like when you look at a Clefable, you have no way of going past that. Gliscor, you have to run an ice move to hit the Gliscor. Um, I feel like that's not the case over here. Like when you run a flying type move, I think flying type move hits a lot of his mon. Like believe Heatran and well Mega Man and Attack are the only two that resist it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here with a bravery history going, this looks really fun for me to use because that hits a lot of his team, and with the exception of I think Heatran, but I believe I'm bravery ground, which instantly hits the Heatran. So maybe that's just looking at it from my perspective, but I feel like there are some holes in this team that he can use, and I feel like Heatran is not the best defensive wall just because it doesn't get recovery.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right. So on to VN.
Yeah, on to VN here. I
Yeah.
gave this thing a C. Let me look at my notes real quick. I don't like his speed tiers at all. His speed maxes out at 110,
Mm-hmm.
and the only other mon that is 100 or higher is Jirachi. Everything else is below that. I don't like that whatsoever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Mega Diancie, however, is still a very strong Pokemon. It's so like 160 attack and special attack. It can be either. Um, One thing that I'll point out as well is he's normal Terra Lucario. I'm assuming to take advantage of Stab
Extreme
Extreme
speed,
Speed.
I would think. Yeah.
Um, he also has Rillaboom with Grassy Glide. Rillaboom is really strong with Grassy Glide, as we've all seen.
Right. Uh,
Uh,
and yeah, I guess just to add in a few things, he has some removal. Like Trample not gonna run Defog every week. Cradle's not a mon that wants to come every week. So it means you're running Boots, Defog, Rotom Heat very often, which it just kind of shoehorns it into a role that it's not always gonna want to run.
yeah,
But then he also has a Mega Diancie, which I think gets Magic Bounce. So between that, you're not the most concerned about like removal because your opponent's gonna be scared to click hazards at times. But the other thing, and I saw the speed tails. I'm not the best at speed tails. As I said, I don't always look at them. And I saw the speed tail, and yes, he doesn't have a lot of fast mons, but he has four mons that get Trick Room. Claydol, Jellicent, Mega Diancie, and Jirachi can all set Trick Room. And I'd be very surprised if VN did not run a Trick Room team and did not pick up a Trick Room sweep even at least a couple of times this season.
mm-hmm.
So I think that's his plan over here. And that's kind of why I was fine overlooking the speed tails when I gave it a B plus because apart from that, it's a very good team. Again, like I think he covers most types. Uh, he's missing a ice type and a bug type, which I think are two very skippable types, pretty bad defensively, to be honest.
Yeah. It's I think the only type that he has like a bunch of weaknesses to is Ghost, but he also has the immunity in Drampa, so it kind of evens it out. Um,
Yeah, and like yes, but I feel like he also has two dark types to make up for that, and like, I feel like every week you're gonna bring at least a Drapion or a Moltres. One of the two is gonna come each week. Uh, I feel like for that reason, it's not the worst.
yeah,
And again, also you look at the two dark types. The weaknesses of those two dark types are not the conventional dark type weaknesses. Like you think, oh, okay, I can click a bug move on two dark types, but then Moltres resists the bug move. Drapion, I think, also resists bug. Or neutral. Like I mean, I guess they're both neutral to it. Uh, but you say, okay, I might click a fairy type move. Drapion resists that.
yeah,
Well, again, it's neutral to it, but it's not super effective, is my point. Drapion second type resists it. And you think, okay, well, Dark is weak to fighting. And then again, Moltres Galar kind of takes neutral from that. So I feel like he'll pick the two best Dark types to kind of balance out the Dark weaknesses, and then that just kind of counteracts the Ghost weakness in my head.
yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm looking forward to seeing what VN does. I don't know VN as a coach. I'm looking forward to seeing how they play. I think there's potential in this team.
Yeah, there is. Like I said, my big issue is mostly the speed tiers
Hmm.
here.
Right.
And
And
moving
then
on to
Keister.
Keister over here, our resident Sun Paradox coach.
Yeah. Like,
I did end up giving him an A because I
mm-hmm.
really do like the versatility of this team. I feel like he could have definitely benefited from also having an electric terrain setter just for
He
Iron
did
Balance and
until he
Iron
dropped
Threads.
it.
Yeah, which I did
Right.
not like.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I thought his team was a lot better when he had the Pincursion. Uh, yeah, and I guess maybe that played into my reasoning of giving it a B plus as opposed to an A. Uh, the other thing that stands out to me, and I guess I just want to say this before we go into the weaknesses, Garganakl is, again, one of the best mons he could have picked in tier C.
Yeah.
So he got value out of that pick. He got value out of his Hydreigon pick, I believe. Um, and then his low tier mons, Victory Balance Coven, by themselves are not good, but when you factor in that he's a Sun team, those mons suddenly become better than a tier D pick and a tier E pick. I think they're in the Sun, they're better than those. So for
Yeah.
that reason, I think this is a decent team. My biggest concern with this, apart from the fact that he now no longer has electric terrain, is that he's going to be setting Sun most weeks, which means your opponent's fire types are going to want to click fire type moves and they're going to be boosted.
Mm-hmm.
And to make up for that, his bulky water, and I don't know if I can even call this a bulky water, but his water type is Taurus Paldea. That's not going to do the normal bulky water things.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
have
it's not really going
recovery.
to, doesn't have recovery, exactly. Heliolist is weak to fire types because of its ability Dry Skin, which is an interesting pick to have on a fire type team. Um, he might run solar power most weeks though, but despite that, I think Heliolist being weak to fire, Victory Bell being weak to fire, Iron Threads being weak to fire, and he doesn't have a lot of things that want to come in on fire type move, I guess, is my point. And in addition to that, then also, does Garganakl get recovery? I think he
Yes,
gets
it gets
recover, right?
recover.
Okay, well, so that's not a big concern, but I was going to say his mon for passing Wish is Zatu. His mon for clicking Heal Bell is Zatu. Um, and like it does a lot of things on this team. Again, I don't know if you want your tier E to be the mon that's doing a lot of things on your team in terms of utility. So not against it, and I like the fact that he has two magic bounce users because that just completely negates the fact that he needs to like he has removal, but I don't think he's ever going to want to run removal even with this team.
He doesn't really need to. Most of the
Yeah.
time, anyway.
Anyway, I guess that's kind of why I put it a B plus, and maybe as I said, the part that he didn't have an electric terrain setter anymore kind of hurts.
Yeah, like that. The main reason why I still kept it, I would have probably had it an A plus if he still had Pincurchin.
Right.
I really do like the mons he chose to utilize in the sun. Like even though Heliolisk is weak to fire, but he's not going to be running dry skin on it anyway because he has sun and is going to run solar power.
Right. Yep.
I
Yep.
would see the only time he would ever run dry skin is when he doesn't bring sun, if he ever
Mm-hmm.
doesn't bring sun.
Yeah. But again, I feel like it just means that this team's so reliant on a Torkoal. And I feel like you can punch your way through this team, and for a team to be in the A minus, I think like we've seen with the previous teams, Lily and TCP, they didn't have as many obvious points to hit at. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, we're going on to I believe this is the second last coach, Pigeon.
Pigeon.
Yeah, I can take up on this. I see you put a B minus, and I thought I was being a little generous with C. Uh, again, I don't know Pigeon. I don't know what their play style is, but they have nothing that gets U-turn, nothing that gets flip turn, nothing that gets baton pass, no parting shot, and the only volt switch user is Rotom Wash. Uh, all that's fine, but then how are you gonna get in Chien Power without stacking something? Because Chien Power is not taking hits ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you have one of the premier offensive threats, and I think Chain Power the Mon really wants you to have a slow U-turner or have something that gets teleport. I don't know if Gardevoir does actually, but you want to have a way of getting a Chain Power in. And I don't know how many times he's going to be able to bring Chain Power in. My concern with this team.
Yeah, God of War does get teleport looking at it.
Okay.
But another thing I want to mention is he has a very big ground weakness. He has an immunity in Rotom Wash, but the only other thing that resists ground is Virizion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is not gonna want to come in.
Yeah. Let me sort this by. His defenses aren't the greatest either. His highest defense is Steelix, but Steelix also doesn't really get reliable recovery. That's one of the reasons why I don't really like Steelix all that much. I feel like
Right.
Steelix would be so much better if it did. Um, but even on the special side, like his best special defense mon is Nihilogo, and that thing doesn't want to take hits either.
Right. I mean, I feel like I've seen a few defensive nine Lego sets with like assault vest and such, which makes it really good. But you're right. A lot of the defensive mons, with the exception of maybe Mega Altaria, they don't get reliable recovery, and his Wish Passer is Gardevoir, which sure does the job. Wish Teleport can work. I don't know if that's what you want to be using a Gardevoir for every week, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason why I kind of boosted this up a little bit is mostly because of Mega Altaria is kind of a jack of all trades. You
Mm-hmm.
can fit that onto so many things, and its typing is phenomenal with it being immune to Dragon and it being a fairy. Um, I feel like Mega Altaria is going to be one of his mons that he's going to have to utilize well if he wants this team to do pretty much anything.
Right.
Um, Skeledirge, looking at it, the big ground weakness, it's not good for Skeledirge. Um,
Right.
but yeah, the team can do some things, but like you said with Chiempao, you really want to be able to get into it, and he doesn't really have any way to get into it without sacking something.
Right. I think, and yeah, I think just to again double down on the ground as well. And I feel like I would have really liked him for him to go for a different tier C dragon type. I don't know if Flygon's still tier C, but it's weird because I feel like that would give him a ground immunity, and he doesn't really need the double fairy. Like, yes, Mega Altaria is cool typing, but I feel like Gardevoir does everything Mega Altaria does, apart from sweep. But if you get a Flygon or you get a different dragon type that can run Dragon Dance, it fixes both problems.
Yeah,
So I guess that's something I would have liked to see him do. I don't know if there's other options to fix that problem, but I feel like he needs something that gets U-turn or something that can pivot again.
yeah, that's something he can definitely fix with just a couple free agent transactions.
For sure.
And
And
then
then the
I,
final
I
team.
yep, moving on to Lechonk here, which we all gave a C plus.
Yep.
There's a lot of things going on with this team that I see. He has okay
Mm-hmm.
removal here. Wait, I'm on the wrong tab here. He has okay removal with being Gligar, Excadrill, and Comfey. Those are
Sure.
mons that generally do want to run removal whenever you bring them. Jolteon being Ice Terra makes up for the fact it doesn't have HP Ice anymore, so that's really nice.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I didn't really value Jolteon much anymore, is because Hidden Power wasn't really a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Jolteon with Ice Terror is probably one of the best Terra captains that you can pick in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's like Razilaki, a little, obviously not at that level of speed and special attack, but it gets Calm Mind, it gets Substitute. Just click Substitute, set up Calm Minds, click either Thunderbolt or a Therablast Ice. There's not a lot of mons that want to take that. But my issue here is this team is so reliant on Jolteon. And then I feel like Jolteon is going to come every week. And it's going to try and do so many different things. I don't know if that's the best option for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, his primary source of momentum with Jolteon is Volt Switch. And I think that's the only thing on his team that gets Volt Switch. Not the biggest issue, but like if you're trying to run a sweeping Jolteon set, you may not want to run Volt Switch on that.
Yeah.
Um, when you look at his Wish passes, the only thing on this team that gets Wish is Jolteon. Probably again, you're not going to want to run Wish every week. I assume that happens once in 13 weeks, if that. But I just feel like this team is trying to get Jolteon to do so many things that I don't know if that's the best option for tier C. And yeah, I just don't know if Goldengo was the best pick in tier A. Maybe it is still probably a very good pick, but I think there were better options on the table that he could have
Yeah.
picked.
I feel like it's also not that good doubling up on the steel type either.
Yep.
One thing I do really like on the team is Celebi is a mon that I've always really liked. It's such a great supportive mon, and it can also do sweeping. So that's a mon that I think he could probably utilize pretty well. It also gets heal bell, so that's interesting as well.
Right. I think actually this is one of the few teams that I'm not even looking at Heal Bell for though. It's just because I think Goldango's ability makes it so that people will think twice about clicking any kind of status moves or even running status moves.
Unless
And
you're static or
yes,
toad scroll.
well, yeah, that's a completely different thing. But yeah, I think he'll start on Heal Bell. I think Comfy also gets like aromatherapy or Heal Bell. So,
Yeah, aromatherapy's cut.
but right, I just realized that. But I think it still gets Heal Bell. So
But yeah, all in all, it's a little. It could it requ- I don't know what I'm saying. This team leaves a lot to be desired, I guess, is what I was kind of trying to say.
yeah, it does. I'm kind of gonna end this because this is the last one. I'm gonna end this by saying the exact same thing I said about the first team, which is my team, in that he doesn't have he has rapid spinners in that he has Excadrill, which might run rapid spin, but it might also run band stats as what it done stat at times. He's probably gonna be clicking defog a lot. He doesn't have spikes or T spikes. Well, I think Heracross gets spikes, so it's not gonna run that. Which means it's gonna be exactly like I said, where this team's gonna be a no hazards. If you bring hazards, I'm gonna click defog type of team.
Yeah.
And he's going to rely on just his offense to clean through without the hazards. Yeah, I think that's a cool thing to see. I'm sure this Inkfish can use this team right, and yeah, I don't think we have one particularly bad team. I know there was some seal that I gave in there, but I think with the right type of play and prep, I feel like any of these teams could make playoffs,
Yeah, I
except for
like,
mine. But
and any of these teams, they have some hidden gems on them. So even if
for
there's a
sure,
like, even if the rankings say that it's on the lower side, your team is still okay and decent. Like, you have
right,
some
and we're
really good
grading on
mods
a
in there.
curve. Like maybe it's not the best team in this league, but it's still a very good team by normal standards, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of want to see what all these coaches do.
All right. Well, then I think that's going to wrap it up with the draft rankings. Thank you for doing this with me, Shadow. I wish we could have had Brad here to put his 2 cents on all of the different Gen 9 mods. Then he has nothing, he knows nothing about.
I think I've made for some good content, but who knows? Maybe we can get a separate video going for that.
We'll just have to get a vid on, like, who's that Pokemon, but it's
Brad
all
names
Gen 9
Brad names Gen 9 Pokemons.
Yeah.
That should be fun to see.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week whenever the weekly recap starts. Good luck this season, coaches.